There we go, everybody, good morning, and today we are changing the front brake pads on the BMW i3. First thing we're going to need is a 17mm socket. Now I've got spacers on these so I don't have the locking wheel nut, but obviously don't forget your locking wheel nut. But for me, a 17mm socket, and I'll get these wheels, just crack the bolts off. Then I'll jack the car up, and then I'll undo them the rest of the way. Alright, so my jack isn't low enough to get under there because I've got a gravel driveway. Obviously I've got to put this plank down. So it's just got it up on the chocks to give me some height. And you can get these hockey puck type things that sit in the jacking point. Like that. Okay, but if you don't have one, don't panic. What I used to do was I just cut a piece of wood and I stuck that up in there, and then that just gave me a little bit of something to jack up onto. So don't panic if you haven't got the right thing. You can always improvise. So the socket we have is an E18 socket, and what can we see in here? This one here. So I'm going to undo that bolt there, and then I don't know if you can see where my hand is. I'm guessing that one there. I can slide the caliper off and retract the piston and change the pads out. Before we do all that, we need to take the cap off. Okay, just to allow the fluid to have somewhere to go, just in case. Right, let's get that done. So before I go any further, I need to retract the piston, and this has actually been quite easy. I'm going to get a screwdriver in here and force that back like that, and then what I might be able to do is get in behind there. There we go. So that feels like it's gone to a nice stop there, so now I can finish taking it apart. So to prevent any damage to any of the pipes or anything, I've just hung the caliper from a wire, and now I can get those old pads out. Just going to use a little brass brush and some cleaning fluid just to clean up these parts in here where the pads actually sort of sit. Okay. So I like to put a bit of copper grease on these points. So just here on these shiny runner bits. Right, so I've just measured these just out of curiosity, because obviously you can see there the wear indicator has made the warning come up on the dashboard. But if you look at it, there's actually quite a bit of meat left on there. So that is over 4mm still left on there. I've been driving that for a month with the warning on the dashboard. And these new ones, let's measure them, shall we? So I make these about 8.5mm. So basically it's only worn down halfway, and the wear indicators activated and bringing on the light on the dash, so I probably didn't need to change these yet. Whether these are the originals, who knows. Car's on about 115,000 miles. Possible, no idea. But yeah, if the warning does come on your dashboard, do not worry about it. Maybe get them checked out, and then just keep an eye on them every 6 months, because I certainly didn't need to replace these now. So let's take a look at the wear indicator wire. You can see it comes up here and back down to this box here. So we'll get that opened, and then like that. There we go, quite simple. Separate that plug and replace the wire. And remember folks, use the correct pad for the wear indicator wire, not one of those. One of those. And it just pushes in place like that. So it might be a bit of a tight fit initially, but once you can get those new pads over the disc, you slide it on, and then you can get the top bolt in. Just get that in a couple of threads and then move it in and get that bottom bolt in. There we go, all done. Now one thing I did notice is there is, where I've put these spacers on, you can see a little bit just down here of corrosion starting. Better on this one. So I'll put a bit of copper grease up here, but I didn't put it down here. So if you are putting spacers on, make sure, in fact I might just put it in there, might be easier. So there we go, fairly straightforward. Quick check, make sure that the wear indicator is in place, and then it comes up and it's clamped in there and clamped in there, and then it covers back on. Bolts are done up to F-in tight. That's been cleaned. Got some copper grease in there just to stop that from corroding the bolts again. Stick the wheel back on, do the other side, which I won't bother filming. I think you get the gist. Wheels back on. Don't forget to torque the wheel bolts up to 140 Newton meters or 101 pound-feet when it's back on the floor. Right, so here we are on the other side, on the driver's side, and I was having issues getting the whole assembly back over the brake disc. Okay, got a bit of a lip here which is causing some problems. I'll have to keep an eye on that, maybe replace them in the future. But so, using a 13mm socket and a 17mm spanner, loosen off that, so hold that with the spanner, loosen off this at the top, and then remove it from the bottom. You can then swing the caliper away from the cradle. Okay, then you can get the cradle bolted in place with the pads past the lip, so they should sit together a bit tighter, and then we can push the caliper back on and then replace that bolt round there. Don't forget, put this cap back on at the end. Put the trim on.